Ah, I've accepted. That's why I see it as a con. But her biggest strength is she never complains. Strength, she never complains. Most people whine about not wanting to go to work, especially on Sunday. They hate that Monday comes after sleep. My girlfriend has never once said that she doesn't want to go to work. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. But I just can't get up. I just can't get up. Can't get up. Even when I go to bed around 11 to wake up early, it's still hard. It's still hard. Even when I go to bed around 11 to wake up early, it's still hard. But waking up early feels so rewarding. But waking up early feels so rewarding. But waking up early feels so rewarding. It makes me feel productive. It makes me feel productive. It makes me feel productive. Uh, I feel like I'm just being lazy. I feel like I'm just being lazy. I feel like I'm just being lazy. I hear the alarm, but I just turn it off right away. I hear the alarm, but I just turn it off right away. I just turn it off right away. I think it's all in my mindset. I think it's all in my mindset. I think it's all in my mindset. I'm not giving up. I keep trying. I'll keep trying. I'm not giving up. I'll keep trying. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m., but I just can't get up. Even if to wake up early. I go to bed around 11, but it's still hard. Wake, Waking up early feels so rewarding. It, it feels like it makes me feel like productive. Even when I go to bed around 11, even when I go to bed around 11 to wake up early, even when I go to bed around 11 to wake up early, it's still hard, still hard. But waking up early feels so rewarding. It makes me feel productive. It makes me feel productive. It makes me feel productive. I feel like I'm just being lazy. I'm just being lazy. I hear the alarm, but I just turn it off right away. I just turn it off right away. It's just all in my mindset. I think it's, I think it's just all in my mindset. I think it's just all in my mindset. I'm not giving up. I'll keep trying. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m., but I just can't get up. Even when I go to bed around 11 to wake up early, it's still hard. Even when I go to bed around 11 just to wake up early, it's still hard. But waking up early feels so rewarding. It makes me feel productive. It's just, I think it's, I think I'm just being lazy. I'm just being lazy. I'm just being lazy. I hear the alarm, but I just turn it off right away. It's just all in my mindset. I'm not giving up. I'll keep trying. My girlfriend has never once said that she doesn't want to go to work, especially on Sunday. They hate that Monday comes after sleep. Especially on Sunday, they hate that Monday comes after sleep. Most people whine about not wanting to go to work. My girlfriend, her biggest strength, her biggest strength, she never complains. I accept that it can't be improved. That's why I see it as a con. I accept it, and that's why I see it as a con. I've accept that. That's why I see it as a con. We are already 30s. We are already 30s. And I don't think her vocabulary get improved, get better. And honestly, I don't think her vocabulary will improve much. I've never I never get frustrated talking with her. I've never felt frustrated talking with her. We can talk about politics and social issues, no problem. What matters is whether we can have real conversations. Whether we can have real whether we can have we can whether we can have real conversations. Whether we can have real conversations. My sister says she could never live with someone who's not sharp. She could never live with someone who's not sharp. Like mixing up takeoff and landing, that kind of thing. The main con my sister pointed out was her lack of vocabulary. My girlfriend has her pros and cons, obviously. The agenda was whether I whether I should marry my girlfriend. The agenda was whether or not I should marry my current girlfriend. Whether or not. The agenda was whether or not I should marry my current girlfriend. I had a family meeting with my sister yesterday. I can do all the both. Why am I even overthinking this? There's no way. There's no easy way, huh? In the end, I should do both, right? I should do both, right? Still, is it better to study with audiobooks? Is it better to study with audiobooks? In the interview, people speak very fast and mush their words. Audiobooks pronunciation is super clear, but that's not how native speakers actually talk. Do you think those two strategies can work together? Maybe I'll learn intonation from audiobooks. Maybe I'll learn intonation from audiobooks and memorize the stuff I actually use separately. But those are not the things I actually say. But those are not the kind of things I actually say. I can share the audiobooks. It looks nice. She smiles so big, her whole face crunched up. I like girls who smile a lot. But in the interview, she smiled like a baby. She smiled like a baby in the interview. She looked super cold in the show. She looked super cold in the show. But in her interview, she smelled like a baby. The series based on a book. The show is based on a book series called A Song of Ice and Fire. Her name is Khaleesi in the show Game of Thrones. Khaleesi is her name in the show Game of Thrones. I don't know her real name either. No, I'm talking about Khaleesi from the show Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I saw an interview with Khaleesi. Do you know who that is? Can you practice English with me? I watched an interview. With Khaleesi. Do you know who that is? No, I'm talking about Khaleesi from Game of Thrones. From the show Game of Thrones. I don't know her real name either. Khaleesi is her name in the show Game of Thrones. It was just noon when I got back inside. I went upstairs and got dressed for the day, jeans and a t-shirt, since I was staying indoors. I didn't take too much I didn't take too much effort to concentrate on my task for the day. A paper on Macbeth that was due Wednesday. I settled into outlining a rough draft contentedly, more serene than I'd felt since after, since, since Thursday afternoon, if I was being honest. That had always been my way, though. Making decisions was the painful part for me, the part I agonized over. But once the decision was made, I simply followed through, usually with relief that the choice was made. Sometimes the relief was tainted by despair, like my decision to come to Forks, but it was still better than wrestling with the alternatives. But it was still better than wrestling with the alternatives. This decision was ridiculously easy to live with, dangerously easy. And so the day was quite productive. I finished my paper before 8. Charlie came home with a large catch, and I made a mental note to pick up a book of recipes for fish while I am in Seattle next week. A chill that flashed up my spine whenever I thought of that trip was no different than the ones I'd felt before I'd taken my walk with Jacob Black. They should be different, I thought. I should be afraid. I knew I should be, but I couldn't feel the right kind of fear. I slept dreamlessly that night, exhausted from beginning my day was so early, and sleeping so poorly the night before, the night before. I woke for the second time since arriving in Forks. To the bright yellow light of a sunny day, I skipped to the window, stunned to see that there was hardly a cloud in the sky, and those there were just fleecy little white puffs that couldn't possibly be carrying any rain. I opened the window, surprised when it opened silently, without sticking, not having opened it in who knows how many years, and sucked in the relatively dry air. I was nearly warm and hardly windy at all. My blood was electric in my veins. My blood was electric in my veins. Charlie was finishing breakfast when I came downstairs, and he picked up on my mood immediately. Nice day out, he commented. Yes, I agreed the green. He smiled back, his brown eyes clinking around the edges. When Charlie smiled, it was easier to see why he and my mother had jumped too quickly into an early marriage. Most of the young romantic he'd been in those days had faded before I'd known him, as the curly brown hair, the same color, if not the same texture as mine, had dwindled, slowly revealing more and more of the shiny skin of his forehead. But when he smiled, I could see a little of man who had run away with Renee when when she was just 2 years older than I was now. I ate breakfast cheerily. I ate breakfast cheerily, watching the dust mote stirring in the sunlight that streamed in the back window. Charlie called out a good day, goodbye, and I heard the cruiser pull away from the house. I hesitated on my way out the door, hand on my rain jacket. It'd be tempting fate to leave it home. With a sigh, I folded it over my arm and stepped out into the brightest light I'd seen in month. By dint of much elbow grease, I was able to get both window and the truck almost completely rolled down. I was one of the first ones to school. I was one of the first ones to school. I hadn't even checked the clock in my hurry to get outside. I parked and headed toward the seldom used picnic benches on the south side of the cafeteria. The benches were still a little damp, so I sat on my jacket, glad to have a use for it. My homework was done, the product of a slow social life, but there were a few trick problems I wasn't sure I had right. I took up my book industriously, but halfway through rechecking the first problem, I was daydreaming, watching the sunlight play on the bark tree. I sketched inattentively along the margins of my homework. After a few minutes, I suddenly realized I'd drawn 5 pairs of dark eyes staring out of the page at me. I scrubbed them out with the eraser. Bella, I heard someone call, and it sounded like Mike. I looked around to realize that the school had become populated with while I'd, I'd been sitting there, absent, absent-minded. Everyone was in t-shirt, some even in shorts, though the temperature couldn't be over 60. Mike was coming toward me in khaki shorts and striped rugby shirts, waving. Hey Mike, I called, waving back, unable to be half-hearted on a morning like this. He came to sit by me, the tight spikes of his hair shining golden in the light, his grin stretching across his face. He was so delighted to see me. I couldn't help but feel gratified. I never noticed before. Your hair was red in it. Your hair has red in it. I've never noticed before. Your head has red in it. He commented, catching between his fingers a strand that was fluttering in the light breeze, only in the sun. I became just a little uncomfortable as he tucked the lock behind my ear. As he tucked the lock behind my ear. Great day, isn't it? My kind of day, I agreed. What did you do yesterday? His tone was just a bit too proprietary. 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 Over relating to an owner or ownership. The company is a proprietary, right? 사적인 그런 건가? I mostly worked on my essay. I didn't add that I was finished with it. No need to sound smug. No need to sound smug. He hit his forehead with the heel of his hand. Oh yeah, that's due Thursday, right? Wednesday, I think. Wednesday, he frowned. That's not good. What are you writing yours on? What are you writing yours on? What are you writing yours on? Whether Shakespeare's treatment of the female character is misogynistic. He stared at me like I just spoken in a pig Latin. Misogynistic? What's that? Misogynistic. Strongly prejudiced against women. I guess I'll have to get to work on that tonight. I guess I'll have to get to work on that tonight, he said, deflated. I was going to ask if you wanting to go out. Oh, I was taken off guard. Taken off guard. Why couldn't I ever have pleasant conversation with Mike anymore without it getting awkward? Well, we could go to dinner or something, and could work on it later. He smiled at me hopefully. Mike, I hate being put on the spot. I hate being put on the spot. I don't think that would be the best idea. His face fell. Why? His face fell. Why? He asked. His eyes guarded. His eyes guarded. My thought flickered to Edward, wondering if that's where his thought were as well. I think, and if you ever repeat that, I'm saying right now, I will cheerfully beat you to death, I threatened. But I think that would hurt Jessica's feeling. He was bewildered, obviously not thinking in that direction at all. Jessica, really, Mike, are you blind? Oh, he exhaled, clearly dazed. I took advantage of that to make my escape. It's time for class, and I can't be late again. I gathered my books up and stuffed them in my bag. I gathered my books up and stuffed them in my bag. We walked in silence, the building there, the building 3. And his expression was distracted. I hope whatever thought he has immersed in were leading him in the right direction. When I saw Jessica in Drake, she was doubling with enthusiasm. She, Angela, and Lauren were going to Port Angeles tonight to go to dress shopping for the dance. And she wanted me to come too, even though I didn't need one. I didn't need one. I was indecisive. It would be nice to get out of the. It was nice to get out of town with some girlfriends, but Lauren would be there, and who knows what I could be doing tonight. But that was definitely the wrong path to let my mind wander down. Of course, I was happy about the sunlight, but that wasn't completely responsible for the euphoric mood I was in. Not even close. So I gave her a maybe. Telling her I'd have to talk with Charlie first. She talked of nothing but the dance on the way to Spanish, continuing as if without an interruption when class finally ended. 5 minutes late, we and we are on our way to lunch. And we are on our way to lunch. I was far too lost in my own frenzy of anticipation to notice much of what she said. I was painfully eager to see not just him but the Collins, to compare them with the new suspicions and plagued my mind. As I crossed the threshold of the cafeteria, I felt the first true tingle of fear slither down my spine and settle in my stomach. Threshold. A stray wood metal stone forming the bottom of doorway and crossing the entrance. Would they be able to 읽을 수 있을까?